Proceeding forward, in Java, we have a concept of method overloading. We can define method overloading in Java by just one statement. Same name but different parameters. So inside the IntelliJ IDE, let us clean up our code. So as said, the method overloading can be defined as the same method name but different method parameters. So how can we see the code in action? Now suppose you define a method, let's say public static void add, and within the block you write a statement int sum equal to 5 plus 7, and then use the print statement to print out the sum of these two numbers, right? And call this function from inside the main method by simply using add name like this. If you run the code right now, you will get 7 plus 5 equal to 12 in the output console, as expected. Now suppose if I want to pass these two numbers from the main function, so here let us use add, and as a parameter let us pass 5 and 7. Let us change the parameter to, let's say, 10 and 45. Now here the compiler is not happy that the signature does not match. Here we don't have any parameter and we are passing some values as a parameter. So the compiler simply complains, hey, we don't have any method of this signature. So for that we need to create a separate method such as public static void, and let's call it add int a and int b. And as a body, let us use int sum equal to a plus b and print out the value of sum. Now this time the compiler is very happy that when this statement will be executed, I have got a perfect match for this. I will simply call this function and print out the sum, right? So here let us call this method as method1 and this method as method2. So when this statement will be executed, it will simply trigger method1. And when this statement will be executed, it will simply trigger method2. Now let us come back to the method overloading definition. We have the same method name. So here we have add and add. Point 1 is now cleared, but different method parameters. So here what do we have? No parameter in case of add here, but in case of method 2 we have two parameter. So this is basically the concept of method overloading in Java. Now suppose if you define a function, let's say add, and pass the floating point value 5.6f or let's say 3.2f. Now this time again the compiler complains that we have a method that accepts only integer values and you are actually passing the floating values, right? So in that case we need to again create a method. Make sure the name is actually same. And right after this, as a parameter, use float a and float b. And now let us call this method as method3. So when this statement will be executed, it will simply trigger the method 3. Right? So again it is satisfying our definition. Same method name, so here the method name is add, again same. Now but different method parameter. Now this time we have two parameter similar to what we have here, two parameter, but this time we have different data type. Here we have float and again here we have float compared to int and int in case of method 2. So again it is satisfying our definition. And if you want, you can also increase the parameter. Let's say float c, and here let us use a plus b plus c and pass the third parameter here, let's say 9.6f, like this. And now let us proceed and experiment more. Let us copy this method 2 and paste it right below it. Now this time if you notice, these two methods are exactly same. What if I change the return type from void to int? And let us return the sum here. Now in both the methods we have one thing different, that is just the return type. So under the concept of method overloading, if we change the return type, then these two methods won't come under the concept of method overloading. And even the compiler won't allow you to do it. The compiler simply complains that this method is already defined. So always remember, making any changes to the return type of a function does not comes under the concept of method overloading. Because for the methods to be overloaded, we should have the same method name but different method parameters. Just remember this. And we are going to explore the topic of method overloading in our upcoming modules as well. So currently it was just a basic introduction to the concept of method overloading.